Welcome to Healthier Daily, where we empower you with the knowledge to thrive. I'm Dr. Ben Carter. We all worry about having a senior moment, that brief lapse in memory. But what if that moment of forgetfulness isn't a random part of aging? What if it's a direct, biological response to what you ate for breakfast? In fact, leading researchers are now starting to call Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes, a form of insulin resistance in the brain, often fueled by our morning food choices. To help us understand this, we're joined by Dr. Sugary Hinohara. Doctor, how can our very first meal have such a profound and startling impact?
Thank you, Dr. Carter. Your science gives a modern name to what ancient wisdom has always known. Your morning meal is like the keynote speech at a great conference for all the cells in your body. Does your speech inspire a day of calm, focused energy? Or does it incite a riot of chaos and confusion? This is the choice we make. I saw this with a brilliant patient of mine, a retired history professor I will call Mr. Ito. He prided himself on his sharp mind, but it was slowly being stolen from him, not by age, but by what he believed was a healthy breakfast. His story shows us that the wrong instructions repeated daily can silence even the brightest of minds.
Professor Ito's story is a powerful warning that even the most intelligent minds can be misled by clever marketing and cultural habits. So let's arm our audience with the knowledge to see through these disguises. Let's delve into those wrong instructions you mentioned. Dr. Hinohara, what is the first and perhaps most common memory-killing food you see on breakfast tables every day?
The first is not just a food, but an idea. It is the idea that a fast, convenient, and empty start to the day is acceptable. And the greatest symbol of this idea is white toast. We have come to celebrate speed in our modern lives. We toast the bread while checking our phones, we spread something on it in 5 seconds, and we often eat it while walking out the door. There is no ritual, there is no presence, there is no respect for the meal. The food itself has no soul, and so it cannot give soul to our morning. What people feel after eating this is a brief, nervous energy, a sugar high. But soon after, the crash comes. But they do not recognize it as a crash. They do not say to themselves, "My breakfast has failed my brain." Instead, they say, "I must be tired. I need more coffee." And so a destructive cycle begins. The body learns to run on a chaotic rhythm of sugar spikes and caffeine jolts. This is not sustainable energy. It is a slow erosion of the body's natural strength.
What you so accurately call an empty start in a chaotic rhythm is what we describe in medicine as a meal with a high glycemic load. White bread, having been stripped of its fiber, has a glycemic index very similar to pure table sugar. When it hits an empty stomach after an overnight fast, it is digested almost instantly, causing a massive and rapid surge in blood glucose. In response, the pancreas releases a flood of insulin to urgently move that sugar out of the bloodstream and into the cells. In an older adult, whose cells are often becoming less sensitive to insulin, this system is less efficient and the body frequently overcorrects, releasing too much insulin. This leads to a condition called reactive hypoglycemia, the sugar crash. This is the moment when the brain, which is the most glucose-hungry organ in the body, is suddenly starved of its primary fuel. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for executive function, focus, planning, short-term memory, begins to sputter. This is the moment you forget the name you just heard. This is the moment you walk into a room and can't remember why. It is a direct, real-time consequence of sending the brain on a volatile roller coaster instead of a steady, calm journey. A 2017 study published in the journal Appetite confirmed this, showing that older adults who consumed high glycemic breakfasts like white bread showed significantly worse verbal memory and attention scores just 2 hours later compared to those who ate low glycemic meals containing protein and healthy fats. So the very convenience of white toast is its danger. What is the second food on your list? It's one that is often perceived as the complete opposite, as something incredibly fresh and healthy.
Yes, the second is dangerous precisely because it wears the mask of health. It is a simple glass of fruit juice. For generations, especially in the West, orange juice at breakfast has been seen as a symbol of vitality, a source of vitamin C. But we must understand that nature gives us an orange as a complete, intelligent package. The sweet juice is carefully bound within a beautiful web of fiber. That fiber is the wisdom of the fruit. It is nature's instruction to the body that says, "Go slowly. Absorb this energy with care and respect." When we use a powerful machine to violently strip away the fiber and discard it, we are throwing away the wisdom and drinking only the reckless pleasure. We are separating the soul from the body of the fruit. This is an act of deep disrespect to nature's design, and our bodies, especially an older body, feels this disrespect as chaos.
You are precisely right to call it a separation of soul and body. From a biochemical standpoint, that's exactly what's happening. Without the fiber matrix to slow things down, the sugar and juice, which is largely fructose, is free, and it hits the liver almost instantly. It is a massive sugar bolus that the body is simply not designed to handle, especially first thing in the morning. Unlike glucose, which can be used by cells all over the body for energy, fructose is metabolized almost exclusively by the liver. When the liver is overwhelmed with a sudden flood of fructose from a glass of juice, it has no choice but to convert much of it into fat, specifically triglycerides. This process not only contributes to conditions like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but it is a primary driver of systemic insulin resistance, the very foundation of the type 3 diabetes we discussed earlier. You're not just drinking a sugary beverage. You are drinking a liquid that directly instructs your liver to create fat and instructs your body to become less responsive to the crucial hormone, insulin. The betrayal of fruit juice is a hard lesson. This brings us to the third food on your list, which you believe is the most dangerous of all, precisely because of its clever, healthy disguise.
It is the wolf in sheep's clothing. It is the packaged breakfast cereal. I am not speaking only of the brightly colored sugary cereals for children. I am speaking of the ones for adults. The ones in the brown boxes labeled heart healthy, made with whole grains, or fortified with essential vitamins. This was Professor Ido's daily choice. He told me with great pride, "I eat a respected brand cereal for the fiber and drink my orange juice for the vitamins. I am doing everything right." But he felt his mind, his greatest treasure, slipping away. He could no longer concentrate on the complex historical texts he once loved. The tragedy is this. The fiber in his cereal was not the natural fiber from a whole grain. It was an industrial dust, pulverized and extruded. The vitamins were not the living nutrients from a plant. They were synthetic chemicals sprayed on at the end of the factory line to make the product appear nutritious again. He was not eating food. He was eating a highly engineered product, a ghost of food, designed by a committee to be sold, not to nourish.
And the process used to create that product is far more damaging than people know. The industrial method called extrusion, which creates those familiar flakes and puffs, uses extremely high heat and high pressure. This process not only destroys many of the natural vitamins and fatty acids in the grain, but it also denatures the proteins and fundamentally changes the structure of the starches, making them even more rapidly absorbed by the body than the starch in white bread. But here is the most critical and devastating danger of starting the day this way. A breakfast this high in refined carbohydrates and sugar has been shown in studies to actively suppress your body's production of a vital protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. I often call BDNF miracle grow for your brain. It is the key protein that helps you grow new neurons, strengthen existing ones, and form new synaptic connections when you learn something new. Starting your day with a meal that shuts down the production of your brain's own fertilizer is a direct recipe for cognitive decline. On top of that, this daily glycemic chaos triggers a cascade of systemic inflammation. These inflammatory molecules, called cytokines, don't just stay in your body. They can cross the blood-brain barrier and directly damage the hippocampus, the very center of learning and memory in your brain. So that healthy bowl of cereal is simultaneously starving the brain of its most important growth factor and actively inflaming its memory center. It's a two-pronged attack that, repeated day after day, year after year, has a devastating cumulative effect. This is a critical turning point in our conversation, Dr. Hinohara. We have effectively cleared the table of the foods that send instructions of chaos and instability to the brain. This is incredibly valuable, but it can also leave people wondering, so what should I eat? So now let's fill that table with what heals. For someone listening right now who is ready to completely change the instructions they send their brain each morning, what does an ideal memory rebuilding breakfast look like in your tradition?
I am glad you asked. It is always more important to build than to destroy. The ideal breakfast, the kind that has supported the minds of Japanese elders for centuries, is not a single food, but a small symphony of flavors and purposes. It is the traditional Japanese breakfast set. Imagine a small tray. On it, you have a bowl of warm, comforting miso soup. The warmth gently awakens the digestive system. The miso itself is fermented, full of life, a gift to the gut. Next to it, a small piece of grilled fish, perhaps salmon or mackerel. This is not a large steak. It is a modest portion that provides a solid grounding anchor of high-quality protein and good fats. Then you have a small bowl of steamed rice, preferably brown rice. This offers calm, steady energy, not a frantic rush. And finally, a tiny dish of tsukemono, or Japanese pickles. These are not just for flavor. Their bright, sharp taste cleanses the palate and delights the senses, fully waking you up. Each element has a purpose. Together, they send a single, clear message to the brain. The day has begun with balance, warmth, and support.
What you call a symphony is a masterpiece of nutritional science. Let's analyze the orchestra. The omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, from the fish are, as we know, critical for building brain cell membranes and extinguishing inflammation. The fermented miso soup provides probiotics, living organisms that feed the gut microbiome. We now have an enormous body of research on the gut-brain axis, which shows that a healthy, diverse gut communicates directly with the brain to reduce anxiety and improve cognitive function. And finally, the slow-releasing complex carbohydrates from the brown rice prevent the very sugar spikes and crashes we've been discussing, providing that steady stream of glucose the brain thrives on all morning. It's a perfectly constructed meal to optimize brain chemistry for the entire day. That traditional set is beautiful, but I can imagine it might feel like a big leap for some of our Western viewers. Is there a way to apply these same principles of balance and stability to a more familiar Western breakfast, like a bowl of oatmeal?
Of course, the principle is what matters, not always the specific recipe. But we must be very wise when it comes to oatmeal. We must completely avoid the small paper packets of instant pre-sweetened dust. That is the same trick as the cereal box. It is a product, not a food. Instead, we begin with whole rolled oats, which still have their life force and structure intact. We cook them slowly on the stove with water or milk. But we do not stop there. A bowl of plain oatmeal is a lonely food. It is all starch. It needs a community. So we invite others to the bowl to create a balanced family. We add a small handful of walnuts or almonds. They bring healthy fats, protein, and a satisfying texture. We add a scattering of fresh berries, blueberries or raspberries, for their bright, vibrant spirit and natural sweetness. Then, a generous pinch of cinnamon, not just for flavor, but for its warming, grounding properties. Now, it is no longer a lonely food. It is a balanced, joyful community in a bowl with fiber, fat, protein, and antioxidants all working together.
You've brilliantly transformed it from a simple carbohydrate source into a nutrient-dense, brain-supportive meal. Scientifically, what you've done is genius. The whole rolled oats provide a special type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan. This fiber forms a thick gel in the digestive tract, which dramatically slows down the absorption of carbohydrates, ensuring there is absolutely no blood sugar spike. It's also proven to help lower LDL cholesterol, the bad kind. The walnuts you added are one of the best plant-based sources of omega-3s, specifically ALA, which the body can convert to EPA and DHA. The berries are packed with powerful antioxidants and polyphenols that protect brain cells from daily damage. And the cinnamon you mentioned is not just a spice. Multiple studies have shown it can improve insulin sensitivity, helping the body manage blood sugar more effectively. You've taken a Western staple and rebuilt it with the principles of Eastern balance. Let's cover one more model. This is for someone who might prefer a breakfast that is completely free of grains.
For this, we turn to two of nature's most perfect and simple foods, the egg and the avocado. There is a beautiful completeness in an egg. It holds all the potential for new life within its delicate shell. It is a perfect source of protein. The avocado, with its creamy green flesh, offers a different kind of strength, a deep, satisfying, and grounding energy from its healthy fats. To combine them is very powerful and very simple. 2 eggs, gently cooked to your liking, perhaps soft-boiled to keep the yolk soft, or slowly scrambled. Served alongside is half of a ripe avocado, sliced with just a pinch of good salt and a crack of black pepper. To complete the plate and add more life, one could add a handful of fresh spinach, perhaps quickly wilted in the pan after the eggs are done. It is simple, it is deeply nourishing, and it sends a profound message of stability and satiation to the body that will last for many hours.
This final option might be the most powerful from a pure brain chemistry perspective, and it directly addresses memory. The yolk of an egg is one of the world's richest sources of a crucial nutrient called choline. Our brains need choline to produce acetylcholine, which is arguably the most important neurotransmitter for learning and memory formation. In fact, many of the medications used to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease work by trying to prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine in the brain. Eating eggs is a way of providing the direct, raw material your brain needs to build its memory molecules. When you pair that with a high-quality monounsaturated fat from the avocado, which helps maintain the flexible, healthy structure of your brain cell membranes, you have a breakfast that is literally designed to build a better memory. It is elegant, it is simple, and as you've shown us, it is profoundly effective. Dr. Hinahara, this has been nothing short of a revelation. You have taken one of the most routine meals of our day and shown us that it is, in fact, one of the most consequential decisions we make for our long-term brain health. The journey we've taken today essentially rewrites a century of breakfast dogma. If I were to summarize the core scientific principle, it seems to be this: we must shift away from the fast-burning, high-carbohydrate, low-fat breakfasts that we were told were healthy and move decisively toward breakfasts that are built on three pillars: high-quality protein, healthy fats, and fiber. This combination is the scientific formula for stable blood sugar, which in turn is the formula for a stable, clear, and resilient mind.
That is a perfect summary of the science. But I wish to end with the feeling, the spirit of this change. It is easy to hear all of this and feel that you have been doing everything wrong for many years. Please, I ask you to release that feeling. This is not about blame or regret. It is not about strict discipline or restriction. It is simply about listening. It is about learning to treat yourself with a new level of respect. Your brain does not ask for perfection. It only craves stability. It wants to trust that it will be cared for, that it will receive a steady, gentle energy, not a storm of chaos. So, start tomorrow, not with a complicated recipe, but with a kind intention. Choose just one of these ideas. Prepare it with a little more care than you did yesterday. Before you take the first bite, sit for just 1 minute and take 3 slow, deep breaths. This is your new instruction. Your brain will notice, and you may be surprised to find that it responds not just with better focus in the morning, but with a quiet sense of peace that follows you throughout your entire day.
A kind intention. That is the perfect first step. Dr. Hinohara, on behalf of everyone watching, thank you for once again guiding us from confusion to clarity with your incredible wisdom. And to our community at Healthier Daily, thank you for your commitment to your own health. The simple choices we make each morning are the foundation upon which a long, vibrant life is built. If this conversation has empowered you to rethink your morning plate, please give this video a like so that others can find this vital information. And be sure to subscribe to our channel for more conversations that bridge the gap between science and wisdom. And now we would love to hear from you. In the comments below, please share. What is one small, kind change you will make to your breakfast tomorrow? I'm Dr. Ben Carter. Start your day with intention, be well, and we will see you next time.